Hello and welcome to Discourse of Peacocks. We'll be discussing a mishmash of Middlesbrough and the Preston game. Just because with the games happening so quick, I genuinely struggled to find the time to record. So I thought, well, why not go and do a live instead? Let's get into it. I want to try and have a tiny bit more structure than I did the other time, simply because of the fact that I felt I got to the end of it and I realized that actually I hadn't said half of the points that I wanted to. And obviously in my pre-records, I have like it all scripted and I can just do it because there's nobody else to chat to. So I am going to attempt to get through comments and my kind of script thing as well. Whether that will happen will be completely we'll see how it actually pans out, because I'm also not great at multitasking, even though I should be, because the whole like female thing, but sometimes you just can't do it. I breathe and talk at the same time and survive, so that's a load of multitasking going on. So I'll just get into a few hellos. Hello, Scooby. Nice to have you here. So pleased to have Joe here. Absolutely thrilled. Hello, Stephen. Good evening, Evie. Feeling relaxed at the moment. Even Leeds can't mess this up. We will get on to my thoughts and feelings on that. Hello, Dammy. Always lovely to see you. Jamie, the myth, the legend. Evening, George. Hi, Oliver. Can always trust you to be here. Absolutely. Party in the Ethy chat. Oh, why do I really desperately want to sing that to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus? But I won't do that because I'm not into torture. And I think if I started singing, it would genuinely be torture for everybody. Oh my God. Good evening, everyone. We want off-piste. Believe me, it will go off-piste. I have structure on this screen, but on this screen is where the madness happens. So the likelihood is it will descend into chaos. And I also am under strict instructions to not go on all night. So I have to try and keep my rambling to like minimum-ish. So Joe's chat is for philosophy, not football. Why not philosophical football? Let's go from one end to the other, the pendulum side. Love it. Love it. So glad that somebody else has picked up on the evil Evie. Hello. Legendary MVG. Right, I think I'm about there. So, right, let's go straight into the good. Again, because my script works very much like my brain, and the fact that it flips from one thing and then I remember something, completely different, and then it goes back and forth. That's unfortunately how my structure is also slightly chaotic at the same time. So we'll go into one sec, I've just seen this. In a few years' time, Evie will be a Leeds watch along in the Champions League. I will never do a watch along. You can clip this up because I don't have the capacity to not say horrendous things, which is going to be a real challenge when it comes to the charity match on the 20th of July. Please get your tickets. Go to Joe Blackburn. Go to Joe, please put the link or something in the chat for that, because I'm not very good at remembering these things, because remembering to talk is quite enough for me anyway. So yeah, leedscreatorcup.com. Please go to that and get your tickets for that, because I will be there on the co-coms, and yeah, you'll get to see Joe, you'll get to see most of the Ought to Know Better lads, you'll get to see Joe Wainman, Jer, Lockie, yeah, like there's going to be everybody that you know, love, jokingly hate, will all be there. So please support a fantastic cause. Right, now we've got that done. I've actually oh no, I'm not doing, no, absolutely not. I will not be doing no, because I honestly, I think I would get banned from humanity if I did a watch along, because the stuff that comes out is some things should just remain between a loving husband and wife when they scream and shout together, because husbands and wives that shout and scream together at the football stay together, and that is where we roll. And he will forgive me for the stuff that I say, because I forgive him equally. Right, so let's get on to the good. So like I said, it's going to go back and forth, so let's go. Solomon, I have been quite disappointed recently in Solomon in terms of his tracking back, his reluctance to cross the ball in, him kind of doing a little bit of a Somerville type thing, holding onto the ball too long, waiting too long to make a decision, allowing three players to gather around him, and basically limiting the options of what he can do. So the fact that he's had 3 goal contributions in the last 2 games is phenomenal. I love it when players respond to, obviously I'm not saying that Solomon sat there, watching my channel or anything like that, or watching, YouTube, whenever I speak or anything, although he should do. But I love it when players prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. If it's for the good of Leeds United, prove me wrong every day of the week. Absolutely. And twice on a Sunday. But I think his goal against Preston, no goalkeeper saving that. It was a phenomenal goal. And the fact, and I've seen many compilations over the years of, assists when they're better than the actual goal. And that assist for Bogle's goal, anybody could have scored. He put that in the perfect place because of the fact that anybody gets a touch on that, whether it's one of our players or whether it's a Preston player, that ball was going in the back of the net. And when you can produce balls like that, there's no stopping you. And I want to see more of that from him. I want him to prove, for this last remaining bit of the season, I want him to prove why he belongs at Leeds United. I don't want him to protect himself. And that's one other thing that I do get annoyed with him for, is that he pulls out of challenges. If you actually watch him consistently and just watch him specifically when it comes to like 50-50 duels, you can tell in the back of his mind he doesn't want to get injured. And that is why it frustrates me, because you're more likely to get injured if you're constantly thinking about getting injured and not wanting to get injured. So yeah, I've been impressed with him the last 2 games, and you can hand on heart say that without him in the team, we don't get 6 points. So well done, Solomon. Absolutely fantastic. Right, I'm going to have to catch up with some of these chats, because otherwise I'm going to go way behind. Where were we? Good evening, Julie. Evening, Evie, and everyone else. Are we still feeling positive for the next 4 games? Yes, but so over the weekend and yesterday, I was on cloud 9. I would say that there is probably no Leeds United content about the game on Saturday that I haven't consumed. I have listened to it on the way to work. I've listened to it on the way back from work. I've listened to it on an evening, on dog walks, when I'm getting ready for work. I have just been soaking up the vibes, the feeling, the bubbles, the anticipation, and also enjoying the fleeting moment where we're able to watch another team do a Leeds United and fall apart at the final hurdle. but that's kind of fun and in the moment, Evie. And now I'm a little bit more pragmatic. I'm like, right, we've done our celebrating. Now we have to kind of focus. We have to get on board with supporting the team. We have to get on board with getting the job done, because for as much as obviously we're top of the league, there's a 5-point gap to Sheffield United, it is still not done. We still have to play and we still have to win. We can't just go off the fact that Sheffield United are falling apart and just assume that everything, the footballing gods are going to shine over us, because let's face it, in the last week, they have been shining over us. And that's despite some terrible linesman decisions, which we will get on to. I'll just put so that's the link for the Leeds Creator Cup. Please go get your tickets, 20th of July at the John Charles Stadium. I'm going to be really annoyed with myself if I haven't got that right, but yes. Please go book your tickets. Let's get as many done as we possibly can, so that potentially if we have loads of people there, we might be able to open up a further part of the stadium. So the more that we can get in advance, we can plan it better and make it hopefully a really fun and enjoyable day out for everybody, and also whilst raising money for a brilliant cause as well. Can't believe I caught you live, Evie, forever. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you. It's nice to have you on this wild Monday night. Is it Monday night? Or is it Tuesday? No, it's Tuesday. Oh God, I'm so it's Easter holidays and I'm still working and everything's just a little bit crazy, because we've obviously got here in the UK, we've got 2 back-to-back 4-day weeks. So I'm to pot with my days already. Evie is very blunt. I am always, I don't know how, yeah, maybe blunt. I'm actually quite, what's the word beginning with P that politicians often are? I can't think of the word. I often try and see different people's kind of views and things, but I'm not afraid to stick up if I agree or disagree with something either. Oliver, when we will be playing the likes of PSG, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and Barcelona, to name but a few. Oh, imagine us managing to do maybe like a not Forest and kind of storm up the league, and we play Barcelona and we play against Raf, and he just looks at us and decides he wants to come home. Oh, yeah. I bet Evie cooks show him if he makes a mistake. No, I will be jokingly, winding people up, because at the end of the day, they're all having the guts to play football when nobody's a professional, and trying to raise money for a fantastic cause. So I will only say things in jest. I won't cook him, mainly because he's obviously fairly light-skinned. So I would hate to burn him. I've done that way too many times already on YouTube. Let's have a look. The good proceeds to absolutely rinse him. I'm presuming that was about Solomon. I told you that this was going to be a back and forth, because you're all getting an insight into the inner workings of my brain, and it is a chaotic thing to behold. Yeah, I agree with this, Luke. I think we need some size. That's been one of the things that was really frustrating. Was it the Luton game where we kept on just, because Luton obviously wanted to play the in the air game, we ended up succumbing to that game also. And we have no tall forwards. Like Bamford is probably the tallest, and obviously he didn't come on until later. So it was just stupid going long. So yeah, I would like some height. I'd like some height for set pieces. I'd like some height for a bit of diversity when it comes to our attacks, so that we don't have to just be, quick, nimble feet. We can actually mix things up. And we are going from being kind of a big fish in a small pond in the Championship that will go up, and we'll be back to being not a small fish, but a medium-sized fish in an ocean, and we will need probably quite a bit of, players that are able to dig in and do something different rather than, we're definitely not gonna be able to walk the ball into the back of the net, so I would like some options, and height does give us options. Um, see. Oh, I love your channel, Evie. Thank you, Stephen. That's really kind of you to say. I'm still a newbie. Still a newbie in, actually doing this myself. And one day, at some point, I will have other people on the show to do lives, but I'm not going to cover it up. It's nerve-wracking as hell. And also, I'm not very computer literate. So when it comes to clicking things, it's quite overwhelming for me. I'm secretly a 90-year-old woman, is what I've learned over the last few years when I'm having to Google how to, do certain things on YouTube. Uh, we have a ton of pace, but next level, I think our front line needs some physicality. Yeah, no, I agree. Do you have anybody in mind, Luke, that you've seen that we could go after? I'm just trying to think of any kind of physical forwards. If Harry Kane was a few years younger, I like his physicality when he, if Bamford didn't break, Bamford would still be a good option, but he just breaks. Is he going to be the 25 million that's going around? I don't know. I don't know whether we'd maybe be able to lower that because of the fact that maybe he wants to stay at Leeds, having, been given a chance. He's played the most football he's ever played in a season during his entire career this year. I don't know. Evie, please can you ask how I'd describe the Solomon goal? Joe, how would you describe the Solomon goal?
Nice shot.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Oliver, I was at the game and it was amazing to be there. Electric atmosphere. Stoke and Bristol City will be too. Absolutely. I am incredibly envious. I watched the last half. Well, no, maybe not the last half an hour of the game again this evening. And the buzz, you can feel it through the telly, and I could feel it on Saturday when we were watching it, and I could sense the excitement. And I was wondering why everybody was saying, because I was trying not to look at the Sheffield score because, again, I'm deeply superstitious as it's becoming apparent. If I look and it's a certain result, and I looked when it was a draw, and I thought, right, I don't want to look again because I don't want to jinx it by looking at it. Yeah, we have got to this point, and I am desperately trying to not influence the game. And clearly, if I looked on it again, it would cancel out the Plymouth goal, and then Sheffield United would end up winning. But I could see, and then obviously the commentators said about, oh, you can tell in the crowd that they've just got the news that we've just got here in the studio. Plymouth have taken, and I was like, yes. Oh, yeah, some choice words came out because I was just so overwhelmingly happy and ecstatic, and I couldn't believe that the footballing gods were shining down on us. 3 back-to-back losses for Sheffield United. I mean, the chances of that happening, it's a bit like us repeating the QPR away game last season, which we came very close to doing when we were 2-0 down by 30 minutes or 25 minutes into that game. But the fact that we're watching another team fall apart, and it gave us, a 5-point gap, absolutely incredible. And, to watch Joe Rodon's face at the end, you can just see that we criticize these players, and, I'm not trying to make out that I'm holier than thou. I criticize them, but it clearly means more than a lot of us at times give them credit for. And that's amazing to see. I love the fact I love the fact I love Joe Rodon because he's the kind of player that you want. He got his pictures taken in was it last January when they were doing the first pictures of the kit, and he wanted to have his picture taken even though at that time he was still on loan because he was that adamant that he wanted to be here. I love that, and I think you don't get that a lot. So when you do have it, embrace it and acknowledge it because he was definitely Leeds. Let's have a look. Need at least 4 points this Easter. Anything less isn't enough. Yeah, I've got on my notes, obviously, that we need minimum 4 if results go our way. I think Sheffield United, if they win and lose to Burnley, or if they lose to who are they against? Cardiff at home. If they lose on Friday, obviously this potentially shapes what we need on the Friday evening when we play Oxford. What I do want to say though is I don't want to see social media go into an absolute meltdown if we get a point away. I just don't want it. I can see it happening, but I don't want it because a point away is okay at that point because we're then at home against who are we against? It's not Bristol. Stoke. I don't think Stoke have much to play for, really. Stoke are Mark Robbins, aren't they? Yeah, I don't think, but he's a very good manager. He did the double over us last year, but we beat him earlier on in the season. All done at the end of play Easter Monday. Yeah, fingers crossed. That would be. God, I still want. So I don't need the title, but it would be nice to be able to experience a title when obviously we were all robbed last time during COVID. So yeah, it would be nice to actually have the title because as well, love him or hate him or just feel in the middle about Farke, he deserves. Right now, Farke is joint with, is it Mick McCarthy for the most? He's won this league, been champions twice. If he gets it a third time, he becomes the kind of, I don't know whether you call him the most successful championship manager. But I'd rather Farke have that title than, Scott Cardigan have a title. You really want that boring football to win the league versus the most goals scored this season winning the league. No, I want to win the league. So yes, automatics will be done or could be done on Monday, but the title isn't. And I would still like the title. We don't need it, but I want it. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I'm really behind with comments. Let me get. I need a couple more performances like that from Solomon, and I think he's worth 25 million. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout. He has gone missing in a few games recently, so I do agree that we do deserve, if we're going to be parting with that sort of cash with the wage expectation that I'm presuming he will come with, then we deserve those performances because we've given him the platform to get his career back on track. So we certainly, as a club, as a fan base, as a platform, deserve to have those last 4 performances at the absolute top notch. I don't care whether he's been, how do I word this? I don't care if he's maybe played a tad too much football in recent weeks. I don't care. You've got 4 more games. That's it. 360 minutes and your season's done. So you can play the best football that you have played and get us promoted. And then we'll pay the 25 million for you. I'll describe it, Joe. Good goal, that bloody time first of one of those he scored all season. Yeah, it was a very Somerville from last season goal. Yeah. I'd love promotion by 10 p.m. Monday, but it's not likely, is it? Let's be honest. Obviously, the whole kind of the Leeds curse about things, I've put on my notes about the fact that, it is within touching distance. It's so close, but there is still a real deep, and I'm trying to push it deeper, part of me that thinks, could we still Leeds it up? If there is one thing that I have learned after, of being a Leeds fan and also learning more about a time kind of before I became a Leeds fan, is if there is the slightest chance that Leeds can make the unthinkable happen, Leeds do it. So I'm not counting my chickens or trophies or promotion just yet. I'm incredibly happy. And yes, I would 100,000% rather be in our position than Burnley's or than Sheffield's, because we've played them. We only got 1 point out of Burnley, to be fair, but we got 6 points out of Sheffield United. So, and I'm pretty sure Burnley beat them. I'm pretty sure Burnley beat them when they played in the reverse fixture at Sheffield United. Evening, Richo. Nice to see you here. Evening, everyone in the chat. Let's have a look. I won't put those. Pithy, but politicians ain't that. It's a Yorkshire trait. What's pithy? I'm Yorkshire, but I don't think I've heard of pithy. Unless that's just like when you're drunk and you can't say the double S sound. Pragmatic. That's the one. I like pragmatic. I'm sure there's another one. Pessimistic. No, it wasn't pessimistic. God, I'm so far behind because this was ages ago now. I'm putting a reciprocal tariff on your pragmatism. I like that. Evie brain equals Evie logic, the best thing since sliced bread. Absolutely, Evie logic is the way forward. Absolutely. Evie logic, as an example of Evie logic this evening, is on Sunday when I was feeling really hyped up and super like, I'm going to be so ultra healthy. I thought I like a sweet treat, but I'll get a healthy sweet treat. And it was like 82 calories for these like ice creams. And they made it look like really big, like ice cream on the box. And I got it out of the box. Well, my husband brought it through this evening. And these ice creams were like this big. I was like, no wonder it's 82 calories. It's like a mouthful. So he had like a chocolate Magnum type ice cream in one hand and one of these in the other. And I just slowly reached over and took the chocolate Magnum because Evie logic, I made a good decision. And then I made a better one this evening by not eating it. We've been massively undersized since Bielsa got rid of Pontus. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's a really valid point. We don't have a lot of height, and we haven't done for a considerable time. Obviously we had Lorente and Koch, but they were tall, but they were calamitous as well. So I think I'd rather sacrifice the height and not have them ever anywhere near. One day, George, one day, Joe Wayman will be on here. He does have a choice on it. I'm not just kind of going to like kidnap him and say, like, you must come on here. Who makes your current starting 11 in the Prem? Bogle, Ampadu, Rodon, Tanaka, James. We need so many signings. Yeah, we do need a lot of signings, but we maybe don't need as much as people think, because I'm not comparing Farke to Bielsa. I'm not comparing him in terms of what he can get out of players, because Bielsa could turn just, he could bring people back from the dead essentially. But Farke has almost done that with a few people in terms of like Dan James. He was kind of stumbling around in terms of like he'd gone, should have come here, went to Scum, then they sold him back to us. We then loaned him to Fulham. We then came back here. So we've been passed from pillar to post. And Farke has improved him. He's allowed him to kind of, even though his feet move as fast as they always have done, he's allowed him to like slow his brain down so that he can actually think about his next move. So I think when you look at like Ampadu, Bogle's been here for, well, by the end of the season, been here a year. Dan James has been here, 4 years? Ampadu, Rodon's, been here for 2 years by the end of this season. If you throw a load of players on that don't have that chemistry, don't have that relationship, don't have that trust straight away in the Premier League, I think that trust and that chemistry and that understanding of one another is just as valuable as it is getting the quality of more players in. I don't want them to just kind of go a scattergun, not Forest approach, because not Forest got a 2-point deduction. I am telling you now, if we went and did a Forest, there would not be a 2-point deduction. It would be, that times 10. And that would be us done. And that would be us back in the Championship for another 15 years. So I think we do need signings. I would like to see Bogle in the Premier League, because I do think if we have, a new centre back in terms of, I think Rodon can do, but we need somebody to cover Strout, because I really like Strout, but I do think that he is very injury prone, and that has really been highlighted over the last 2 seasons where he's had lengthy periods out, and we cannot have that. So we need to get somebody who can build that chemistry like Ampadu has with Rodon. And then we need obviously Ampadu does have that chemistry, but I would prefer Ampadu in the midfield in the Premier League. I do actually think this season and last season, actually the best periods of Leeds United's like runs have been when Ampadu has been in centre back. And I don't think that that's kind of a coincidence. But to go back to your point, I do think we need signings, but everybody that you've listed there, I would want to start in the Premier League. We need a new goalkeeper, because Darlow had a great game, great 2 games. Obviously, he had a moment of madness when he came out and punched the ball and gave away the free kick. But he organised that wall so much more with so much more authority than I've ever seen Meslier organise a wall before. So I felt very calm, actually. I was fuming, but I also felt very calm in terms of, oh, this goalkeeper, he can do the basics of goalkeeping. Wow, what a man. What a man. But I do think we need improvements there. We obviously need improvement at number 9, number 10. Wingers, we don't know, because we don't know where Ramazani's level actually is. Yes, he was brilliant in the first few games of the season. But we haven't seen him consistently for a lengthy period of time. And I would start Dan James at the start of the season, but if he's been caught out, then I would make Dan James a super sub. And a super sub in the Prem is nothing to be like ashamed of, going from a starting to a sub position, because I still think Dan James is very useful, but we do need some signings. And I think that I do think that I don't know what I was going to say then. It's gone. Must have been a lie. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, 2K. I know. amazing that many people want to listen to little old me. I always like that Chris Woods bloke, but dear now. Yeah, he will be dear now. Yeah. I don't think he's going to sacrifice Champions League football to come back to Leeds United, where, obviously until the last 2 seasons, he'd had his most prolific goal scoring season of his career whilst at Leeds United. I like Bamford. Shame he's so injury prone. Does my head in now how much stick he gets, to be honest. Yeah, I've been critical. I'm not going to come on and sound like a hypocrite. I've been critical of Bamford because you are only as good as your availability allows you to be. And if you are constantly unavailable, it doesn't matter what you've done a year ago, what you've done 2 years ago, what you've done almost 5 years ago in that first Premier League season. It doesn't matter. If you're not doing it right here, right now, because you don't earn points from seasons ago, you earn points right now. But at the same time, it's not Bamford's fault that the club under 2 ownerships haven't replaced him, with a good enough replacement. That's not Bamford's fault. Where are we? Oh, yeah, because I'm terrible at saying things like that. Don't forget to smash a like, peeps. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I need people to say things like that for me, because it's the idea of saying that just makes me so uncomfortable. It's one thing saying it on a pre-record. It's another thing saying it on a live. Don't speak too soon. Evie Leeds United haven't crossed the line yet. There might be further twists and turns in this championship promotion race. I just hope it falls in Leeds' favour 1 game at a time. No, I agree. I'm very... I like to keep my head. I allowed myself to go to that super high on Saturday, and on Sunday I woke up and checked my phone just to make sure it wasn't some kind of bizarre, amazing dream. And then again yesterday, it was brilliant watching all of the square ball videos and everything. But I fully agree with you. It's not done yet. There's still twists and turns, yes, and there's only 4 games left to go, but it is so tight that there are so many different permutations that I think Opta has us something like 96.8% getting promotion, and I'm like, so there is still 3.2% that we don't get promoted. I know I shouldn't look at it like that, but geez, this club absolutely, does everything. All of our task barring Darlow. Don't know what he sounds like. He's the only one I thought actually sounds like a taff. Sorry, Scoobs, I don't know what you mean. That's probably on me because I'm so far behind in the chat. Win on Friday, could be promoted by Monday if the turf results. Yeah. I don't know, because part of me, I know it doesn't make it. Will some maths genius in the chat work out what happens if, say, Sheffield United drop points in any sort of way on Friday, we win, then obviously we win against... I'm not saying obviously as I'm saying we are definitely going to win. I'm just saying for this example, if we win on Friday, we win on Monday, Sheffield drop any sort of points on... So say they lose on Friday, is it okay if Sheffield get a win or a draw so that Burnley drop points, even if it makes the promotion race not technically done? Or can it still be done and Burnley drop points? I don't know whether I'm making sense there or not. 1 sec, I'm just going to have a drink in my fake Stanley Cup. Why pay £4.99? Why pay £45 when you could pay £4.99 from the Range? If the Range would ever like to sponsor my channel, that would be amazing. I see how it's tempting to have a guest on stream, but it's impossible to fully engage with a guest and the chat. One has to lose, and invariably it's the latter. Yeah, I agree. I am enjoying, the kind of the back and forth, the interaction side of things without having to kind of. I really empathize and admire, like, Joe Wayman, how he manages having the guests on the chat and be able to maneuver the conversation to the next point and not kind of get stuck on things. That's why I like being a guest, because I can just turn up, chat my shit and leave. Whereas he, obviously has to kind of structure it, manage everybody's temperaments, manage the conversation, hope that everybody kind of gels together. Whereas when you're just doing it on your own and you're just, chatting with people in here. And as well, I think, I remember, well, I still do it now. It's nice to feel that you're actually part of the conversation, and more people can see your opinion. Like when I put up people's chats, I always really enjoyed that. Oh, lucky. I couldn't have gone on Monday anyway, because with it being Easter Monday, school holidays. But yeah, I'm incredibly envious. I haven't managed to go to as many games as I was planning on going to this year. It's been quite, disappointing, really. And because of the Harrogate game, with it being a Yorkshire, really wrong time to get a really bad throat. Because it was a Yorkshire derby, I couldn't get tickets for the FA Cup game either. Title is nice, but irrelevant promotion is the job that needs to be done. I'm just meaning that we had a practically perfect kind of week of results. Obviously the only way that it could have been better is for, Burnley to lose on Friday to Norwich, but Norwich just looked well and truly kind of done for the season. Very top of the east, so not ideal, but it'll do. I quite like being, like, maybe not like right at the top, but I do like being in the east upper, because you can see the entire pitch, and it's kind of like the same view that you get at home when you can see everything kind of happening. And it's not like, when you're at home, obviously you can only rely on what the cameras are pointing at the time. So there's a lot of off the camera thing. And again, I think that that's where maybe the Bamford hate, no, not hate, because I've never hated Bamford and frustrated with him, but I think that's why you get the people in the stadium versus the people who watch it on telly. You get that kind of split in opinions, because the people in the stadium can see all of his off the ball running, whereas the people on the telly can only focus on whatever the camera is pointing at. So you'll probably miss out on quite a bit. Oh, hi, puppy. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for joining. It's hanging a little to the left. Yeah, all good. Have you calmed down after the weekend's, massive high? Let's have a look. Oh, I think I've lost where I was. Hopefully we are a Prem team on Monday. Who would you keep for the Prem and who would you sell? I don't know whether I would. I certainly wouldn't sell anybody other than Melier, that's in the current squad. I would probably. It's not going to happen for Geldhart at Leeds, which is a shame. I feel like we've failed him really. And I do put that a lot down to like Jesse Marsh. But I think Geldhart's gone. I think Greenwood's gone. God, JB, is he in his last? Is this his last year in his contract? Is he gone at the end of the season, or did he sign a? Because he came. We got him as part of the kind of the swap when we sold Calvin Phillips to Man City, and that was the beginning of 22, 23, 22, 23, 24, 25. the likelihood is he's gone at the end of the season. So he's probably gone anyway. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, God. Oh, the jokes. Oh, the jokes. Oh, can we? Yeah, let's have a discussion about Chris Wilder. Let's have a discussion about the fact that the comparison and the complete antithesis of one another, where you have Chris Wilder making sarcastic comments about Plymouth before the game, and then obviously you saw everything that unfolded during the game and obviously the aftermath, at the end. And then you see Daniel Farke and the way that he is always respectful towards opposition, no matter whether where they are in the league. He is 100% respectful, and he is also um he he never kind of belittles or is degrading towards any club, any player. And then you have Chris Wilder, who unfortunately has switched into that kind of fan mode instead of manager mode. And I don't know, if I'm honest, how he gets that back. And I think was it was it on the square ball where they said about the fact that actually we maybe don't want a touchline ban for Wilder because of the fact that he seems to be doing a very good job of causing everything to go a little bit wrong. So maybe we just want him on the side so that he can continue to make things go wrong. And every single Sky reporter, BBC reporter, everybody who says we don't like these ugly scenes in football, we love these ugly scenes in football. We absolutely love it because nobody was seriously hurt. Nobody was seriously offended. It was just silliness and out of control, childish behavior on a massive platform and a massive stage. We love it. We absolutely love it. It's part of what makes football. I think maybe the whole reason that Sky are like, these are really ugly scenes is because they can't monetize Chris Wilder having a paddy, so they want to get rid of it because, if there's emotions, how are they supposed to regulate and charge for that? Yeah, we love that. Absolutely love that. And anybody who says that they don't is a liar and clearly not a football fan, because that is the stuff that we live and breathe for. All right, let me go. Jason, I absolutely love this one. Oh, isn't this HMS Pith the League? Absolutely. Still not done yet. Not celebrating until Sheffield United can't catch us. Yeah, no, I don't think that that's a. I don't think that that's a bad call. I mean, we're allowed to celebrate. We're allowed to go all Jesse Marsh and celebrate moments. Absolutely. But we can't. We can't start having open top bus parties just yet. Let's get there first. I think Piroe needs to get his shooting boots back for the 4 remaining games. Yeah, let's have a quick talk about that actually, because he wasn't great at Middlesbrough, hence why Bamford was such a breath of fresh air. And obviously Bamford got that goal. He got that goal on his 200th appearance. He got that damn goal. But I do think that I felt a great deal of empathy towards Piroe. I was frustrated, absolutely, I was frustrated, but I felt a great deal of empathy towards him because actually his overall number 9 play, I thought was much better than it had been. I would probably say that was his best all-round, if you take the lack of being able to convert the 3 billion chances that he had into account. That was probably his best all-round number 9 performance since Norwich in the second playoff game last season. And I'm not saying that he hasn't had good games in between that. I'm not being completely dismissive of him, but overall, number 9 player, I genuinely think that that was probably his best performance, but he just couldn't buy a goal. He really couldn't. He had so many chances, and you could see the frustration and the anger growing on him. Like, I really felt for him. I just kind of wanted to go and give him a hug because he just looked like as soon as that ball ripples the back of the net, he will be on it and he will score multiple. I have no doubt about that. But all of these goals that he's had, I wouldn't want anybody else other than him to be in those positions. So when he's snatching at chances and he's not converting those chances, like I was very frustrated. I was shouting, get him off. And I was like, oh, I feel really sorry for him. Get him off, get him off. Oh, I feel really sorry for him. It was very kind of, yeah, very flipping from one side of the other, like every rational football fan. Good evening, Gavin. Nice to have you here with us. Last season and this season, we've generally played better against the better teams. Surely this is a positive if and when we get promoted to face better teams in the Premier League. This point right here is exactly where I stand. So I was watching Just Joe when he was talking with Joe yesterday, I believe, but I watched it today. And Joe was very, concerned about the fact that the teams that we have struggled, we've struggled against teams at the bottom. And I completely understand the frustration because absolutely, as we all say, on paper, we should be beating these teams. Yes, but we don't play football on paper. We have suffered and have struggled for 2 back-to-back seasons against teams that don't want to play football. We are going to be the team that doesn't play football when we go up. I'm not saying that we actually are, but I'm saying that we're in that little bubble, that niche kind of area where we're going to be fighting for survival, just like the teams at the bottom of the championship are right now. We're going to be that team next year. So all of these teams, they're not going to view us as a threat because for the last back-to-back seasons, the bottom 3 haven't even made a dent in the Premier League. So they're just going to think that we're exactly the same as the last 6 teams that have been promoted. They're going to think that, well, it doesn't really matter. So we'll throw everything at it. And that is where we thrive. We thrive when a team wants to play football. You're not telling me that Man City are going to park the bus. You're not telling me that, let's think of a more mid-table, that Bournemouth are going to park the bus. In fact, Bournemouth will be a game that I guarantee, especially when that game is at Ellen Road, will be played with so much venom because if Sinisterra is still there, if Tyler Adams is still there, those 2 people that were threatening to sue the club if they didn't let them leave. We're not going to sit there and park the bus. Bournemouth aren't going to sit there and park the bus. They're fighting at the minute to potentially get in 8th spot, which I think at the moment, if everything stays as it is, and as long as Palace don't win the FA Cup, I think the European places go down to 8th. So they're not going to be worried about little old Leeds United. So they're going to come and play football. So I completely agree, Darren. I actually think that this Farke's football will thrive more in the Premier League, where there aren't many teams that sit and park the bus. And even the teams that currently sit and park the bus, i.e., not Forest, are very kind of pragmatic and kind of counter-attacking football. Well, they're going to still think that they can get points out of us. So they're not going to sit back. Why would they sit back? They're going to be, if everything carries on the way that it looks like, they're going to be in Champions League next year. Why are they going to park the bus against Leeds United, who have just spent 2 seasons in the Championship and, had back-to-back relegation battles for the 2 previous years? They're not going to be concerned about us at all. So I think Farke's football will work better in the Premier League because of the fact that we're going to go up against more teams that want to play football. So even though I do agree that we should have beaten these teams, like Preston away, QPR away, who else? West Brom, who else didn't we? Luton, all these teams that we should have got better results or that we've dropped some form of point. We won't do that in the Premier League because everybody is up there to play football. So they're not going to view us as a threat, which for at least half a season will work for our advantage. They may learn by the error of their ways for the second game, but hopefully we've accrued enough points to be mathematically safe by then anyway. Good evening, Colin. Lovely to have you here. Thank you very much for joining. I won't be on too much longer saying that, but, let's see how it goes. Bamford defenders rise up. Oh, God. Yep, absolutely, baby zebra, absolutely. Right back, left back, centre back ×2, attacking midfielder ×2, 2 strikers, and a left-footed winger. Oh, I mean, yeah. Oh, when you put it how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I don't think left back, yes. Right back, yes. Although we do have Schmidt, who can cover both. And I wouldn't be surprised if they give Byram another year. I'm not saying that that's the right choice. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Centre back ×2. Yeah, we need a left centre back for definite to cover for Strauch, and we need a right centre back for cover for Rodon. Attacking midfielder ×2. Now, would you take Rothwell in that situation? What's everybody's opinion on Rothwell in terms of, do we sign him? Do we let him go back to Bournemouth and wish him luck? Where do we stand? I quite like him. Let's have a look. Everything we've gone for: Rodrigo, John Kevin Augusto. Oh God, Rutter, Piroe, don't play like Bamford. Can't believe we've never managed to replace him properly. Wish we'd got Ollie Watkins a few years back. Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda with that one. Yeah, Ollie Watkins would have been a fantastic signing under Bielsa. He would have worked really well under Farke. Yeah, we really, really needed to do that. It's not Bamford's fault that we've been poor at replacing him and that we've just gone for names or projects instead of looking at the characteristics that Bamford has as a number 9 and trying to kind of replicate that in the best possible way. Arthur Rutter going to Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, if I was Brighton, I'd be rubbing my hands together because, Brighton have basically been Chelsea's feeder club for the last few years. And, obviously we got 40 million for him. They'll get at least 60 or 70 because it's Chelsea and they always add a few zeros on when it's Chelsea involved. Taff equals Welsh president. Thank you, Jason, for explaining that. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, it's an education bin on here. Chef have to win every match. 2 wins and 1 draw we need, if so. Okay, and that's doable. Even with just 2 home games, that's doable. Although we can't rule out Bristol. I think we're sleeping on the Bristol result as just a win, and I don't think we should because I think that's what happened with Swansea. Thomas Brennan, Leeds has spent 90 million on agent fees in the last year. Absolutely criminal that these crooks are pocketing so much money for doing sweet FA. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. I think it's Milner that hasn't had an agent for years and he's negotiated his own deals. I bet every club loves dealing with Milner because of the fact that they're not having to pay. And it kind of puts into perspective, obviously we didn't make 140 million. We sold 140 million worth of player in the summertime or over last season and a bit. But when you consider that it's not just the cost of the player, it's the cost of the player plus the cost of the agent. And then obviously you have wages as well as that. I'm not an expert when it comes to these things, but where do agent fees go in terms of PSR? Where do we go from? Are they included? And this is a genuine question. that I don't know, because I would presume that they would be included in PSR. But that means that there's so much scope for dodgy dealings in that, if the agent's fees are included in part in PSR, when it should be kind of, there's just so much. It's disgusting how much money is actually nothing to do with the club or the actual player. It's this third party that has no real kind of loyalty to the player, no loyalty to a club, and yet is such a massive part of the footballing industry without actually having any part of it. Good evening, Alison. I'm very well. I hope you are too. Are you able to come over for the last 2 games, Alison? Because I know you make quite a lot of home games, travelling all the way over from Ireland. Oh, thank you. Yo, gang, there's 100 of you nearly. I think there isn't enough likes to match. Please come on. Oh, thank you. Oh, there you go. You've already answered my I got a Stoke ticket. Oh, I'm so pleased for you, Alison. I'm so envious as well. Definitely. Definitely not. Ah, there we go. It's 19 million, not 90 million. Some of it's payments from Premier League deals. Right. Okay. Thank you, Oliver, for clearing that up. Oh, did it end? Has it ended 2-2? Because is it 3-2 Villa Arthur, but PSG 1-5. Oh, gutted. I wanted Villa to go through, especially because I just wanted them to knock PSG out. Let's have a look. Good evening, Gary's 2 Wheels. What a brilliant name, absolutely. Good evening, Gareth. Nice to see you here. Hello, Lee. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for joining. I'm presuming that's about Darko JB. He has 1 year left on his contract. Thank you. I thought that would be the, because I can't remember whether it was 3 or 4 year deal that we got him on. Absolutely not. He would walk into Ellen Road through, like, there's no revolving doors, but I would quite happily just see him, like how you've seen kind of comedy films, especially like in the 90s, where people like walk in the revolving doors and end up missing coming out, and kind of, I'm sure Mr. Bean did it or something. He walked in the revolving door, didn't know how to get out, and ended up coming straight out of the building. That's exactly what I would want to see from Jack Harrison. I do not want Jack Harrison anywhere near this club at all. I will always like him for the moments that he provided us when we were in the Premier League. I'll always enjoy and be slightly bitter about the stat that he scored our first Premier League goal back after 16 years, and he scored our final one when we were then relegated. But yeah, absolutely not. What about Jack Harrison and Rasmus, both on loan at the moment? They need to be sold, even if Leeds United make a loss on them. I think they'll both be sold, and I don't think we'll actually make a loss on either one of them. I'm sure Joe did a show about this not so long ago on one of his news daily updates. So please go check Joe out and go back on that, because I'm pretty sure that we will actually make a small profit, and we certainly won't lose anything. Definitely not on PSR, because I think we've paid enough of it off, and I think we've agreed a reduced fee, but I think he will be gone before we've actually finished the season, or the paperwork will be done and just ready to kind of sign before the end of the season. Agree. He goes missing for far too much, as Everton have seen over the last 2 years. He comes in, looks all right. He still has a cushion of a foot when it comes to receiving the ball, but he doesn't do anything with it. And he would want to be playing first team minutes. And we've seen from Farke, love him or hate him, that he is very consistent when it comes to keeping people, you have to earn your way in. So he wouldn't be given any assurances. And we don't need that negativity back. I want to forget as many of the relegation people as humanly possible. I know we've got Aronson back, but Aronson's done a good job this season. Yes, he's not always been the best, and yes, I think he's been overworked, and we should have got another number 10 in January. But again, that's not his fault either. Agree. Yeah, agree. Farke wouldn't play him. I'm keeping grounded, not getting carried away. Good, Alison. Yeah, I am with you. I've had my super celebrations, but now I am calm. I am pragmatic. I am chilled. I am focused on supporting and shouting and screaming and swearing at everyone. Everyone, absolutely. Oh, say hello to Matty. I will be watching back later. Intriguing. Too much mustard on the ham sandwich, absolutely. A few players out on loan. They'll be back: Greenwood, Geldhart, and JB. Yeah, I don't think any of them stay though. I think they're all gone, and I wish them all nothing but good. And I want them to progress, and I really want Geldhart. Oh, he was such a glimmering hope in that relegation survival season, and yeah, we just never got that back again, did we? How can anyone consider releasing Dak after chinning well? Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah. Evening, Kevin. Nice to have you here. Some nice little chats going on. Even Forest were that team when they first went up, a team that parked the bus until they recruited players and good coach and developed a way to compete against fellow Premier League teams. Yeah, I mean, they still do, because Nuno's tactics, he is a very counter-attacking team, so they still actually do. Sit and park the bus for a lot of the time against kind of the bigger teams, but I don't think you necessarily have to. You just have to know when to close the door and when to open the door, and that will be the test for both Farke and the players. That logic is fine, but you also need 200 million in upgrades. I don't think we quite need 200 million. I say 150 million. And if they want to spend 200 million, absolutely go for it. But I don't necessarily think look, Tanaka is not a £3.5 million player, is he? But that's all he cost us. So I don't think you have to spend that much if you recruit well. Look at Brighton. I know they have this the recruiting software that they've patented. I get that, but there are ways that you can recruit without having to just pay through the eyes for people. Through the nose. It's through the nose, not through the eyes. Whichever socket, just don't pay through it. We do need to be ruthless, but we also got rid of people too soon last time. We didn't replace Alioski. I loved Alioski. Yes, he was a liability, but at that time, was Firpo an upgrade? At that time, I'm not talking about Firpo now. I'm talking about Firpo in the 21-22 season. Was he an upgrade on Alioski? I think we all know the answer to that. We did the same. We didn't replace Calvin properly. We certainly didn't replace Rafinha properly. We didn't replace Berardi properly. We didn't replace Pablo. All these players that we were happy to just say adios, but we didn't actually replace them wisely. We bought cheap, we bought expensive crap, to put it politely. Rothwell is worth 5 million. Is that what he's actually going for, Colin? Because yeah, I'd be happy to. I'd be happy. I've got 5 million just chilling in the bank. I'd be happy to spend that on him. I think he's certainly worth that for a Premier League. I'm off watching on the buses film. absolutely love the dog. I love the dog. Oh, thanks very much, guys. I just subbed and liked, and Leeds are going up for sure. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. Hold on one sec. I think I've got where am I? Oh, thanks, Colin, for coming a member. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Your first time catching you live. Love the channel first class. Oh, thanks very much, Sean. Really appreciate that. Would have Rothwell. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think any more than that, I think you're paying for nostalgia isn't the right word, but you're paying for this season's feelings rather than the quality of the player himself. I think for 67 million, that's 627, not 67. We could buy a player better. If you're talking about 10 million, he's not worth 10 million. Not at his age as well. He's 30, I think now. Not that being 30 is anything wrong, especially not when you're 32. Agent fees paid over the length of the player's contract, not in a lump sum. Right, well, that's good. At least it works on that. There was a point about an hour ago when Eva was going to tell us about the good of the game. Yeah, well, you know what? It's descended into madness. I've actually managed to get most of my points out just in a more casual way. But yeah, I have managed to get most of my points out. I will mention, let's go on to the bad. The linesman. I don't think we need to really say anymore. I think every podcast over the last week has mentioned about the fact that obviously David Williams, is it the one that did the Tanaka goal decision and the Piroe goal decision and the Nonto goal decision. Coincidentally, we've actually still won all three of those games where he's ruled goals out. But when you consider that the only thing that it has us top of the table is goal difference, we still don't know whether that will play a part in certainly title winning or whether we'll just win anyway. Goal difference might still play a part. Let's have a look. Consistently inconsistent. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Oh, that must be about Harrison. Yeah. Ironically, I'm actually going to name a show that I'm planning on doing consistently inconsistent. So that was seeing that written down there, I was like, whoa, you've read my mind. Give over, we're winning the title. Oh gosh, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to kind of jinx it because this is what I feel. I think I'm almost caught up. I wouldn't want KP back. No disrespect to KP, but he's not the same player as he was at Leeds. He had been in and out of an Ipswich team, poor form, plus usual injury issues. Yeah, again, we'd be signing him for nostalgia. We'd be re-signing him to remind us of Bielsa. We'd be re-signing him to get back a Calvin Phillips that potentially doesn't exist anymore. I don't mean to sound brutal, but we can't pretend as if before Bielsa, Calvin Phillips was this incredible player. So many players, like you have kind of what I call BB before Bielsa, kind of have gone back to their norm. They haven't been the same kind of level as they were under Marcelo. And unfortunately, Calvin is one of those. And again, the injuries. So many players have been plagued with injuries since Bielsa as well. I'm not saying it was just all Bielsa's fault even. But yeah, no, I love him and I would love to see him back in some sort of future role at the club. The same with Cooper. But I was scathing of Cooper last year in terms of his playing ability, but I'll never doubt person, and it's the same with Calvin. I thank him for all of the memories, especially under Bielsa, but that chapter, that story has finished for now. If he's ever to come back into Leeds, it will be in a brand new book, not as a player. Good evening, Daniel. Nice to have you here. Hi, Evie. Hi, chat. Hi, Carol. Nice to have you here. Hello, Smithy. Thank you very much for joining. Michael Joseph needs a season-long loan into a championship club should Leeds United get it over the line. Yeah, I agree. He needs a club that he can shine in, and he can gain confidence, and he can gain actual experience in, and maybe throwing him into the kind of the necessity that Leeds United are in this season, where we have to get up. Otherwise, we don't want to even talk about the potentials of not going up, because it's going to make us all sad and we're in happy place. But yeah, I think he needs a loan where maybe the spotlight isn't as big. There is a massive spotlight on Leeds United, no matter what league we're in. Colin, maybe like 5 years ago, but Danny Ings doesn't stay fit. So what would be the point of replacing Bamford with somebody who is equally injury ridden and is also, I would imagine, still on a very hefty wage? No, that's a no from me. Unfortunately, that thing called time has not been nice to Danny Ings's injury record. Hello, Evie. I hope you're well. I've been waiting for your next podcast. Great to see you. Oh, thanks, Tony. Really appreciate you being here. They want 8 million for Rothwell, but can't see them getting that at 29. Yeah, I don't think, and I think we'll negotiate it down as well. You know, I don't think so. And I think if they want that, I think we move on. I don't think he's been really good, and I've really enjoyed him, and I like him as a player. He doesn't give you any bother. He just gets on with it. He's hardworking. He never caused any issues when he wasn't playing or anything like that. But he's also replaceable. He wasn't this world beater kind of thing. So yeah, 8 million's a lot to ask for a player that has been loaned twice in the last 2 seasons to a championship club. And he's 29. If he was 24, 25, yeah, give him 8 million, no problem. Hello to all and sundry. Hello, John. Hello. This is what it's to be sick. I don't get it. Sorry, I don't know if I've been blonde there or not. This is what it's like to be champions. This is what it's like to be Leeds. This is what it's like when you're going to the Premier League. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be absolutely so fun next year when we see like 8 wins all season or something. Absolutely. Right, I'm going to do the last few minutes and then I'm going to head off because I have a sleepy dog behind me and I need to go. And I need to get some sleep. I'm so tired. Junior will come out of Leeds with a much better player than it came to us. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and again, you do have to say, obviously, he never really got going under Bielsa with injuries, with yellow cards, with the state that we were in. Obviously, everybody falling apart, everybody just not brilliant. But I hope that we don't re-sign him because I would like to just remember this version of Junior Firpo so that I don't have to think about Junior Firpo in the Premier League, because we did get a glimpse of Junior Firpo of old on Saturday for what was at the time the equalising goal for Preston. So yeah, we don't want to go that. I thought so. Let's have a look. Age is only a number, they say. In some cases, a big number. Yeah, And I think as well, when you've got kids, whatever your age is, you immediately have to add 10 years onto your age because of the fact that they drain the life out of you. Youth is wasted on the young. Absolutely. Give me that youthful skin back, please. Excellent stream. You've great to see your podcast. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michael. That's really nice. Tanaka is the measure of what your money can get you. Sick of paying the Brit tax for mediocre players. Yes, absolutely. What a brilliant point, Pete. We see it a lot with stupid clubs, i.e. Chelsea and Man U, where they just pay a ridiculous fee. And because we're obviously we're not in the Premier League right now, but say we are, you pay a premium. How come, clubs in La Liga, clubs in Serie A, clubs in Ligue 1, how come they can all buy these players for 10 million, but if this player was to be offered to a club in England, it would be 40 million. This is why there's so much money in the Premier League, because we're having to constantly pay more for everything, for mediocre things, which is why I hope we get our deals done quietly and quickly, because as soon as anybody else gets a whiff, it's going to drive the price up. I don't like the fact that we pay a premium on the fact that we have the most expensive and, in theory, the best league in the world, when actually the same player is playing in a European team and cost a fellow European team a tenth of what it would cost an English team to buy the same player. Yeah, absolutely fantastic point, Pete. How many players and how much do you think we need? We've kind of said this already, but I do think we need plenty, but I don't think this is going to be such like a diplomatic answer. We need plenty, but I don't think we need a complete squad overhaul. We need additions, we need improvements, and potentially, I think it was Jer said on Joe's stream the other day about if you improve certain players, you can watch other players improve with them. It's why you often see, when you in like cup games, you'll see all the kind of outsiders mixed in, potentially even with some youth, and you think, oh well, they're not any good. Well, yeah, but you're playing a completely mismatched team. If you show, if you take a couple of younger players and put them in with the first team, and you watch and how those players grow and copy the other more experienced, kind of better players, you'll see a massive improvement. So I think we need to invest wisely. There are glaringly obvious ones: 9, 10, left back, goalkeeper. Those are just, they are musts. They are not, we'll try our best. They are, we will get relegated 1,000% if we don't get those. But then you need another CDM, you need wingers, you start with those 4, and then you kind of, that like ripple effect, and then you see what else you can get. And then you maybe, I'm acting as if I know everything about buying players. I've never done it in my life, but this is how in EV logic it would work. I would start with those, get those kind of ticked off. Again, in EV land, it's really easy to get those players in. I know it's not, but you start with those, you see how other players improve when they've got higher quality around them, and you then think, right, well, that player hasn't improved enough, so we need another player to add competition and depth to that position, and you work from there. So you use, and that's again why we have to get promoted automatically, because of the fact that we have longer to put that plan into force. So yeah, Evie's going with strength. Oh, thank you, John. That's really kind. Thank you. I'm going to put this up again because I just don't say it myself. So yeah, please smash the likes and subscribe and all that YouTube-y jazz. There absolutely is, John, some brilliant minds in this chat. Only the best of the best come here. Night Mick. Yeah, absolutely. Keep the faith. Man United paid 85 million for Anthony, who they have loaned out to Real Betis. Leeds United paid 17.5 million for exactly. We got the better deal. We absolutely got the better deal. Good evening, Segundo. Thank you very much for joining. I am actually just about to leave because I need to kind of get some sleep, and so that I can human the following day. Apparently, you've got to do that in order to get paid for work and stuff. You have to turn up and function. Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It's ridiculous. And, we end up just sounding like spoiled English football fans and spoiled, oh God, it's so hard for English fans. Well, it's like, well, yeah, but we also pay the highest prices. We pay such ridiculous amounts of money to go and see, cup games, to go and see just normal games. Like it costs, if me and my husband go to see a Leeds game, we're Leeds members, but obviously we're not season ticket holders. So it's 50 quid each. So that's £100. Then you've got the fuel, then you've got the parking, then you've got drinks, then you've got potentially any food, because a lot of the time, 7 o'clock game, we have to leave straight from work at 5 o'clock and get over there. So then you've got food that you've got to, I'm not going to pay at the Ellen Road. I'm not like stupid. But there's all this cost in it. So it costs the best part of £200 to see one game of football. So we're already paying this, and then the club has to hike the price up because of the fact that European clubs charge us more because there's an English transfer tax, and just forever it's always us that pay the cost for this. Sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Evening. Good evening, Rich. A lot of noise around us bringing Ramsdale. Would you rate that? I think he'd be great for us. I think his personality would be great for us. I don't particularly rate him as a goalkeeper. I think he's very good at the kind of shithousery element, and I think as Leeds United fans we would love that. But I think we would get easily frustrated with him. And because he's had so many clubs, obviously he's been relegated, with 3 different clubs as well. Because he's had so many clubs in a fairly, he's still not an old goalkeeper. I would question that as well. Does he go missing when the chips are down type of thing? So yeah, not for me. Not for me. I know quite a few people do like him. Good evening, Kilgallen. I wonder if you want to say anything nice and positive, or whether it's Farke out. Evie taught me everything I know. John, she's the best. Oh, thank you, Favourite Zebra. Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to hire somebody to carry my own head out of my door. Nice video, Evie. Nice chat in the room. Absolutely. We'd like to see it. Great to see live. Keep the positive vibes as usual. Enjoy your varied views. Thank you very much. I think we will leave it there. I have managed to kind of catch up with the chat, so we will leave it there. If you're watching this after, please put in the chat what you think the next 2 results for all 3 teams are going to be. Yeah. If you think we're going to do it easy, if you think we're going to make it, or if you think we're going to make it kind of like nail biting, oh my God, we have just leads the F out of this. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you are watching afterwards. Thanks everybody in the chat for a brilliant, lovely stream. We've had 130 people at one point were watching, so that's incredibly scary, but lovely at the same time. No, I just like what you said about only sensible people on here. Absolutely. Well, I didn't even know you were in here, so I definitely wouldn't have said that if I knew you were in. Just quickly, because if we get up top 2, I give him a chance. Absolutely. It would be ridiculous not to, in my opinion. I think you'd be shooting yourself in the foot. Choice of manager. Oh, gosh, I think that's a discussion that needs more time than I've got right now. But please come back and ask me that on the next live, and we'll have a chat about that, because I have some thoughts, to the point where I actually disagreed with my best friend earlier on, because of my opinion on what I would do if Farke got us up via the playoffs. Have a great rest of the night too, John. So yeah. No, I don't want him. Absolutely not. He has a very similar injury record to Bamford and isn't as good. So why would we do that? Oh, hi Jess. I didn't even know you were here. Thank you very much for being here. Really, really appreciate that. Right, I am going to head off. So thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.